Welcome to the Coaching Life Podcast, Season 11, Episode 2. How's it going, Coach?
Well, good.
I was a little better than
I was prepared
last week.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I was prepared for the studio today.
Yeah.
You were too?
I noticed you have your OHS BCA.
But that's why I decided to keep it on.
Yeah.
A little advertisement here for in a couple weeks. Our high school baseball coaches clinic in Ohio coming up.
Yep.
Excited about it.
Yep. Talked to a few coaches in the PDC that said they were going to be there. So
Good. Participation is fantastic. How many we have a lot of new coaches in our
let's see.
league.
Well, some have a new coach.
Well, your league.
Coach Graham.
Is taking over the head
taking
coaching
over
job
for
at Wellston.
Coach Stevens.
He's been there for a while.
Yeah, he's been an
role.
assistant. Yeah, and he's also the
think
football coach.
I think there may have been a year before Morgan or two that he was the head coach also.
Oh, really?
Because I think he was doing football and baseball for a couple of years. Maybe back when his son was playing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't
Chris.
know.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know Morgan.
Ask him. I don't know. Or not Chris is his name. What's his son's name? Shoot, he's gonna be mad at me if he listens to this and I can't remember. It's been a while. Sorry, Chris. So.
And then Coach Matt Harris at Alexander.
Yeah,
longtime
that's right.
Assistant. Yeah,
Alexander.
I talked to him a few
Matt's
weeks
an
ago
old
at Alexander
friend.
game, and he told me that he accepted the position, so he'll be there. I think he'll be at the clinic.
He will definitely be there. He's gone to the clinic for years, even while he was assisting at Alexander. And Matt, we will see him at BD's Mongolian Grill on Thursday evening.
Yeah.
We always have the same people that we see, and he's one of them. Coach Corvin will be there, and we always go out with him. And
Coach Newsom will be there from Athens.
Yeah.
I saw him at B-Dubs the other night, and he said he'd make it up there. So
nice. Do you have any assistants coming?
Our junior high coach is actually going to come up. I think that's the plan. And
good.
I would expect him to be an assistant. He was an assistant coach on the varsity staff last year.
Nice.
Ray Allen. So I think he's planning on coming up.
I stole one of our junior high coaches too to be an assistant on the varsity staff this year.
Did you?
Trey Hill. Yeah.
Oh, who's coaching your junior? I know.
They're hoping that Trey Hill will. The junior high dads.
Oh, this is breaking
it's
news.
It's a point of contention at Eastern right now.
Oh, okay, I got you.
No. Trey.
Because I heard Trey did a good. Not just from you. I've heard a lot of people say Trey did a great job.
And really is. I mean, you know how this is. It's kind of unusual to get a junior high baseball coach, at least in our area, that's not a dad.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 years, right? 7th grade, 8th grade, and it's tough. And usually that's kind of the last year that the kids are coached by a dad, a dad coach or whatever. And so I don't I kind of encourage that. Like we talk to our dads about, hey, you're passionate about your kid and this age group, whatever, jump in there and help take it over, because it's hard. I mean, we would all love to have a college student coach, but their schedules are so, random, and it's tough. And so I think Trey, when he initially, when I talked to him, I initially said, hey, we'd love for you to keep coaching the 8th grade team, but I also would love to have you on our staff as well. So whatever you think you can do. And so I know that he really wants to work with us with the varsity staff, and I do believe it's not I just want to steal him. I mean, he's going to be really helpful. The role that he's going to play is going to be really a good one. But there's also some really good dads in that group too. They just are hesitant about doing it, and I get it. You want your kids to be coached by somebody else, and you'd like to just be a dad. So we'll
there's
see.
some value in that.
There's other options too. I mean, we got some other guys in mind that we're going to talk to as well. So it's out there.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I've had someone reach out to me about. It sounds like we might have a big group of 6th graders this year that are interested in playing. We might have a 6th grade team that's playing up in the 7th grade.
Same. Us too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think your 6th grade you have a very talented group of 6th graders.
We have a 6th grade team. Yeah, it would be like a 12U team that would probably compete pretty well in that 7th grade league. Yeah. I would guess that they.
So
that they would do.
Our sign-ups went out the other day for junior high. I haven't looked at.
Nice.
Been there, but
I think the plan is to put it out for junior high within the next week.
Do you do a sign-up for high school?
I do a QR code. I did a Google form, and what I do is I will just print like a QR code. I mean, basically, I just printed this sheet that says "Play Baseball." It was green with a QR code in it, and it said, "If anybody's interested in playing baseball, scan this and fill out the form." It's just an informational form. It gives me their name, email address, phone number, and then T-shirt size, because I want to go ahead and try to make orders. And even if somebody decides not to play or doesn't make it through the first week of practice or whatever, I mean, somebody else will wear that size shirt. Yeah. I mean, we'll figure out a way to do it.
I'm assuming these are sleeveless.
No.
Oh.
The shirts?
Yeah.
They're not going to be sleeveless either. Yeah, we've talked about that. We've had that conversation. But I put it out there. I put the Google form out last Friday, and they didn't have actually.
Yeah, it's been a rough.
Did they have school Friday?
No.
Yeah.
No. Eastern did, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I didn't put the QR code in the building until Saturday, because there was a basketball game, I think, Saturday or something.
I've been mixed. I put one out online and said, "Hey, fill out this form if you're." Or
you did like an online form too?
Yeah, or you can sign up in the office.
In the office,
whichever.
Yeah.
But I think
that's what people are used to, coming to the office to sign up for baseball.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, and then I don't know who has a
that's
who
true,
doesn't have online.
Yeah.
I think most people do now, but to not see that, you know what I mean?
It's true.
So I've just tried to kind of make that how it is, just to get an idea of what.
Well, and I sent a message on our Sports U app also to the guys that all get that that says, hey, make sure that you fill this out, but also anyone that you know that may want to play baseball, help them fill it out. Or if for some reason somebody doesn't have a phone, or the ability to do this online, help them. Help them. Let them use yours or something. I don't think we'll have that. But.
You let them show up without signing up.
Oh yeah.
I've always so why do we have them sign up?
The only reason I do it is to get the information, to communicate to them reminders
it just gets ahead of the game,
because we always have a parent meeting on the Sunday before the first day of practice, and so that gets that word out, that hey, we want to make sure that every parent of anybody that wants to come out and play baseball is at this meeting, that there's parent representation for every student. And the shirt thing, like I want to get on top of that and order our undershirts. Whether more people come out, because I'll always order a couple extras anyway, And so if somebody comes out that didn't sign up, hopefully they wear a large,
Right, make it work.
So you got some kid in there that's really tiny and looks like he's wearing a large shirt. It's because you can tell that's the one that didn't sign up for his shirt. Yeah. I'll have to tell you the story about our undershirts this year. Have I told you what we're going with?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise. I'll tell you off the podcast.
Oh, okay. We don't.
And anybody else that's listening, if you want to know, I'll tell you at the OHSBCA clinic. So you got to come to that. We'll sit around the table and tell that story.
We need to talk about the clinic here in the next episode or so.
Next week. It's going to have to be.
Oh, that's right. That's true.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right. Because then 3 weeks after the clinic is the start of baseball. You know that I wasn't the only one we got a message from somebody else that said, that said, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but it's like, man, I'd have been right with you. It was.
You know what would happen if you'd have
the 17th.
If you had started a week earlier?
You would have turned me in.
That's right.
We would have had to forfeit all of our games.
Only 2.
Only 2?
Yeah, the
is that what it is?
No, I would only care about the 2 you play against us.
Yeah. I don't even know what the rule is. Like, what's the consequence?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
If somebody, like, if you know that there's
probably,
a baseball team
honestly, there's
right
probably
now,
a fine. The school might get fined. You might get fined as a coach. You might have to go through. Maybe you have to go through your
some kind of
training. And I don't know what the.
Yeah.
I don't plan on breaking it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, me either. So. It's open gym, buddy. It's open gym. That's
I understand. I got it.
There's no instruction going on in there.
I know.
Yeah, we're just hitting and throwing. That's it. So,
That's why you bring people in that aren't on your staff and let them coach.
Like when I see these videos of these schools in the Columbus area, some of these bigger schools that have these indoor facilities, and these kids are all wearing the same shorts and T-shirts and running through these drills and things. Like, so that's open gym. Like those kids are just doing that. Like
it's organized.
There was no agenda.
It's organized. One of the players organized that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's the same 6 kids. I'm pretty sure it's not. Oh, well, I don't care. Let us practice year round. Who cares? I mean,
yeah.
We know some do.
I guess there are some that would take advantage of that. And
right.
When it's not wanted, I guess,
Well,
and
all of a sudden now you got every sport in high school. I mean, if that ever happens, if the OHSAA just says, okay, there's no off period, I mean, just do what you got, because that's what everybody's doing anyway. Let's just do it. Problem is, there are schools where kids only play one sport where that would work.
Yeah.
In schools where kids play more than one sport, now you got multiple sports saying, this is mandatory.
That's true.
You got to come to my stuff.
That's
right?
true.
There's just no feel for the fact that the kids actually want to do something else besides play the sport that you happen to coach. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So I'm all for the rules in that sense.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, sweet.
Buckeyes are national champs.
The Ohio State Buckeyes are national champions. Yes. What a story that is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there.
They were done. After that loss to Michigan.
We think so from our perspective, right?
Well, I think you could say historically, and they were expected to be done.
Yes,
obviously they weren't.
Right. From a media perspective, a fan perspective, a Columbus, Ohio perspective. I mean, everybody was writing them off. They certainly wrote off Ryan Day. Like a lot of the Ohio State fan base was, this guy's got to go. Were you one of them?
I'm not. I'm not really an Ohio State fan. Like I do.
See, I'm kind of like you, probably, in this sense. Go ahead, tell me what kind of Ohio State fan you are.
I'm not like. I don't. Even when they play Michigan, it's just like I guess I kind of want them to beat Michigan. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't. But it's not. I'm not as a Browns fan. It's serious.
But you're more of an NFL fan than a college fan.
I am, yeah.
So I'm kind of the other way around. Like I have NFL teams that I like to like. I have
a bunch of
the
them.
Cowboys.
Yeah, you got a bunch of them.
The Cowboys, the Bengals, now the Bills. But
I'm rooting for the Bills as well. I have a reason.
That's right. I'm not even a Josh Allen fan. Like he's the other flopper in that game. Like there's 2 floppers in the game, and he's one of them. But somebody's got to do something about that, though. About the protection of Mahomes. I mean, it is public. Like every commentator, everybody. I think
even Troy Aikman. Of course,
Troy's
been hit pretty hard in games, right? He had a lot of concussions.
Yeah, and I think that's why it frustrates him.
Yeah,
and that's why you hear this. Come on!
But it's the game.
That was his response.
It is the game. I don't know.
It's the game, not for every quarterback, though. That's the thing. It's not the consistent game.
Yeah, probably not. I sent you that text. I saw that. I reworded it to make it. Yeah, it was well executed. I was pretty proud of myself when I sent that text yesterday. It said, "Oh man, I don't know about that call." And you said, "What are you talking about?
Is there a
what
game
call
on right now?
Is there a game?
It's like 3:00 in the afternoon on Martin Luther King Jr. Day."
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that roughing the passer they just called on the Chiefs for the Chiefs next week."
A preemptive flag.
I saw that. I saw that as a meme, but I thought that was pretty neat. But yeah, I think. You can't really. I can't blame Patrick Mahomes for because everyone's mad at him because he's faking a slide and stuff like that. He's taking advantage of silly rules, is what he's doing, and that's the league's responsibility. Yeah, that. I'd blame the league for that.
100% agree.
Yeah,
right. He has the agility to be able to dance around, like scramble, get away from the defense, and then back off from him. Dance around, and then go into a slide really quick.
Yeah, or pretend like he's going into a slide.
Pretend like he's going into a slide.
And then not that way when a defender's coming at you, well, you don't know if he's going to slide or not. So you know
it's impossible for the defense. That was Troy Aikman's point, I think. And I think if it were a let's say, Troy was a quarterback who took a lot of hits, and that's frustrating to him. But let's say Lawrence Taylor or somebody like that, maybe not the best example, Mike Singletary or somebody like that was our commentator in the game. If I were a defensive player, like a linebacker, I might say, you know what? At some point, you just need to blow the guy up.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get a flag anyway, but if that crap's going to be allowed to continue, blow his behind up.
Yeah, if you know you're going to get a flag every time you hit him.
15 yards is 15 yards.
Right.
I mean,
so I think the answer
Earn it.
is you get rid of the flag.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
And you review that.
Review it.
And if it was roughing the passer, legit roughing the passer, where, and I'm not talking a slap in the face that they call.
Right.
That's a silly rule.
Well,
you get
even
slapped in the
those, when there
face.
is a flag, review it. Review some kind. You got.
Well, that's true. But I would take the flag out completely. I'd say,
because they're reviewing all that anyway.
And make it a fine. Just make it a fine. If it was legit roughing the passer, it's a fine.
Yeah.
Right. That's a punishment, and then you're not hurting the integrity of the game.
You do have to punish the team though for that, don't you think?
Why?
For the roughing the passer?
Why? Because they might
if I'm
pay.
making
Because the Saints
and the fine is $25 million or $25,000, and I don't care. Like, I'll pay that.
I don't think
Then you
maybe I guess maybe yeah maybe you make the fine.
Do the fines actually hurt these guys?
Maybe
I don't know.
maybe make the fine worse.
We're talking about funny money. I don't have any clue.
$5 million fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
But I don't think they'll ever get it right if it stays in the game. I don't think they'll call it right. I don't think they can.
It's frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't think I don't think Joe Burrow, for example, whines and complains. Like, he doesn't want flags.
No, he said he
really doesn't.
I mean, a little frustrated. He said
but
we
he's
don't
not
get those
whine
calls
for them, right?
Yeah, right. Someone asked him about it,
and so I actually think that doesn't help him, because they're like,
I guarantee it does.
Have you seen some of the missed calls on him? Like, they actually one at the end of a game on the goal line when he gets his face mask pulled like this as he's trying to make a pass.
Well, they asked him about it, and he's like, I don't get those calls. We don't.
That's because he's a competitor. Like, he's an extreme ownership type of guy.
I was talking to Coach Jay Reese about this at the Alexander game, and I was Coach Tim Lewis was sitting there, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell you right now, as a coach, you have to chirp on the officials. Like, this is basketball for sure.
Yeah.
You have to chirp, because if you don't, you're not going to get a call. Tim and I were the nicest coaches ever. Like, we would applaud calls, and we wouldn't get anything. Like, we'd never get calls.
I've heard basketball coaches say that, actually.
Yeah. But I think it's unfortunate that that's how it is. But that's kind of how it's got to be, because it's like human nature. Like, I'm not going to, this guy's okay with me making this call now, so I would have, But you do have to talk about it.
And I'll bet
bit.
it's the same in football too.
I would say so. Yeah.
I don't think it is that. I think it's the opposite in baseball. What do you think? If you don't pick your battles, if you're chirping about everything,
I would
you're
agree.
probably not going to get calls.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I feel like the temperament and because baseball is a game where every play there's an official call. Mm-hmm. Like, on every single pitch, there's an official call.
Like a decision.
Because it's either going to be a ball or a strike, or it's going to be an out or safe, a foul ball. Like, official makes a call on every single play. Versus basketball game can go on for 2 or 3 minutes without an official having to make a call. Football, same. Well, not an NFL game. I mean, you can't run a play without a call being made. But
the difference between basketball.
So you have to kind of pick
baseball.
those battles. You can't constantly, like, I've been around coaches before that just chirped about everything. I'm rolling my eyes. Like,
yeah, right.
Dude,
well, I think
you're not helping yourself.
And I think there's more of a, like, I guess it's not. You're not allowed. You can't chirp. Like, there's a certain line. Like, if you do that,
that's why the balls and strikes. You just can't. There's a rule built into the game that you can't do that.
So it is there. I never thought about that.
It is. I haven't either, but it's just that's what kinds of thing comes up in our conversations like this. Like, it's interesting to think about that.
Yeah, I've never argued with an umpire.
I tell you what's funny though. Yeah, right. I think I saw a picture on Facebook of you arguing with an umpire.
No, you didn't.
Maybe it was just a conversation you were having with one.
I don't know. You might have.
I don't know. One of those photographers you guys have that post all those pictures.
Yeah. Andrew.
Back to the coaches trying to gain favor from officials. There were several times, like at OU games on the sideline, you could hear Coach Albin do this. Like if like OU would be on the 15-yard line and the wide receiver would be split out, and the play was like a fade route or whatever, and Tim would speak to the side judge. He'd yell down to the side judge and say, "Hey, he's going to grab my receiver here. Watch, he's going to grab him. He's going to grab him." And there were times because it's like it's a route that's hard to defend, and so a lot of times defenders, in order to do it, they'll try to slow him down. And there were a couple times when, like after hearing him say that, I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch. I know where this play's going, right? And I'm watching. Like he would just say it even right in front of the DB, right? And you'd watch, and sure enough, there would be contact, and a couple times there was actually a grab and a flag, you know. And sometimes there wasn't because he said it out loud. The DB made sure he didn't make contact, and he got beat. It was a touchdown. And so it's gamesmanship, I think, a little bit. It was just kind of fascinating. I thought that I think that's a good coach. Like that's good. Like I'm like that's pretty good. To actually proactively state that to the official, because the official heard him and he just looked at him like, I hear you, and the official knew to look for it at that point.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
I think I would have said it quietly.
I know, like well, the first time I heard him do it, I'm like, that's weird. He said it out loud, like he's yelling it at him, right?
Have you ever done that in a game? Been like, because I know for me, I said, talk to the umpire about guys being out of the box.
Oh yeah, in between innings.
And then
hey, keep an eye on this pitcher, man. He's not coming set.
But then he's like, hey, pitcher, you got to come set. Yes. They're like, what are you doing? I wanted you to call it. I didn't want you to stop it.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly that's bad umpiring. Like you don't do that. Like you don't want at our level. You don't, and that's usually my response when something like that happens. Like, dude, we're not playing. This isn't 12U.
Yeah, Yeah,
they don't get warnings at the varsity level,
right?
Right. The reason I came to you is because the kid's doing something illegal, and you haven't called it yet.
Yeah,
and I just kind of want to point it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had that before, a couple different areas. Yeah. But I'm just like,
But anyway,
the Buckeyes were done.
How we got onto this was you're a bigger NFL fan than a college fan.
Oh, yeah, right.
You're kind of an Ohio State fan. So, like, you root for them to win.
I do. I wanted them to win last night.
Yeah, I would say I'm an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, I guess
I got a couple shirts.
I'm just not, like, I don't get real tore up about it if they lose.
When people think of Ohio State fans, they think of the crazy people that wear the Buckeyes and, like
I did want to fire coach.
Their basement is painted like a Buckeyes helmet. Jared Stewart. And
I did want to fire Coach Day, though.
So you were on that bandwagon.
I was, because I felt like in the Michigan game, we did not go to our strengths. We had the most talented team in the country. That's what has been said.
You could see that all year, actually.
Yeah, and we did not throw the ball one time to Jeremiah Smith. And all we did was we ran the ball right into the strength of their defense, which was Michigan probably had the best defensive line that's in the country.
Did you feel like it was a pride thing?
Yes.
Like they claim to have the best defensive line. Watch this. We're going to beat it.
I think that's exactly what it was. I think he was goaded into it by Lou Holtz. Because they said
you're probably right. It's a pride thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Someone else said that it was the Ohio State. Well, Syracuse's head coach. Can't remember.
Which is where Kyle McCord is at.
Yeah. He said, no, it was Indiana's coach, I think, that said Ohio State. That Ohio State was soft. They're a finesse team, and I think
the way they approached Indiana was the polar opposite of how they approached Michigan. Like they aired it out against Indiana.
Yes, they did, and so I'm like, as a coach there, He didn't trust his players, and if you're not going,
didn't play to their strength,
right? With the best team, if you have a talented group like that, I feel like, and maybe we've talked about this before. Like good coaches affect the outcomes of games 10% of the time to the positive and 10% of the time to the negative.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And
most of the time, I agree. Yeah,
yeah. And if it's like more than that, or good, and if it's more down, it's bad. But you don't want to cost your team game. Yeah. And I felt like the way that we played and approached that game cost the team the game. But to your point, I lost faith in Ryan Day, and I felt like the way that they played that game, it would have been easy for the players to lose faith in him, but they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't, did they?
Yeah.
I think,
and I credit him for that.
Exactly.
And
I think there are a lot of people today that are probably saying, I owe him, like, I mean, I don't know Ryan Day, and I didn't say it to him, but I was, and I owe him an apology. Like he's back in my good graces, right?
Well, I'm not going to apologize. He won me back last night, though.
He won people back, right?
Not just by winning the national championship, because I felt like if he had followed that blueprint, they'd have only had one loss. The Oregon game at the beginning of
because
the season.
Oregon, they didn't play well. Offensively, they didn't. And speaking of that, the coaching job they did with Will Howard from the beginning of the season, the first handful of games, that kid was good.
Yeah,
like he ended up. I didn't think he was very good.
Yeah, I think he helped his NFL status
yes,
improved over the last few weeks.
He's very poised. Now he's got the best receivers in the world in the college world. I mean, that Jeremiah Smith, man, he's incredible.
And that's the
Igbukah,
thing. It's like you're Michigan. You can't move the ball. How about just throw it out?
Yeah,
we didn't target.
Yeah,
that's how I said we didn't target Jeremiah Smith one time, and we didn't yesterday either. And I was saying, this is him. This is what he does. He goes into his shell, and we're starting to run it. Yes. The game's
we got a
close.
Good lead. Let's keep the lead.
Yeah. And it's 3rd and 11. I'm like, we're going to run it and try to run the clock out. And they went to Jeremiah Smith.
Genius, but not really.
I texted him. I said, we lost to Michigan for that play right there. Yep. To set that play up. We lost to Michigan.
That's right. It set it all up. They believed that it was just going to keep doing. They were going to keep doing the same thing. But yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. I think that there has been this, like, not just this year but last year. What was the game that they played last year? Did they play Notre Dame in the regular season last year? Is that why he and Lou Holtz got into a little shouting match?
Oh yeah, I think so.
A little Twitter match or whatever.
Yeah.
Because Lou called him soft.
Or maybe they played in the bowl.
And then after the game, he's like, "That's a tough team right there. That's a tough." His face is all red, and he's in the post game interview, and then people kind of made fun of him, talking about how tough they were, and then they got trounced in the playoffs or whatever. But I think what happened this year is, like, coaches are susceptible to that kind of stuff. Like, we make mistakes. Like, we let our pride get to us, and we get in the way. And I totally agree. I think Ryan Day, maybe even Chip Kelly too, maybe they got in the way, and from their team being the best they could be. But what you want to have happen in those scenarios where you fail is you want to learn.
Yeah.
And I really think they learned. Like, you look at the way they approached the next 4 games after that one.
Yeah.
They learned a lot. I mean, there was complete dominance. The Texas game was a little closer for a bit.
It was, and I'd say this: the Texas game
was good.
We came out, and Will Howard threw an interception going to Jeremiah Smith early in the second half, and that changed that game. That, I think, Ohio State was walking away with that if they go down and score. And last night, I think Ohio State walks away with it if Tate doesn't fumble the ball. I think that was Tate on that run.
Yes. That was really close to not being a fumble, too.
It was. And I think if he doesn't fumble there, they go in to score, and the game's over. Like, it doesn't get as close as that. So, I mean, things happen that make things close. Obviously, they didn't play well against Michigan, but, to not target arguably the best wide receiver in the country.
True freshman.
It just... Yeah, I know, and I was thinking about that
incredible.
too. Like, man,
this kid was in high school last year.
They trust him to go after that ball right there.
Yeah.
So it's just, but it's pretty neat. So
it is.
But I'm not going to apologize. But I'll say congratulations, and you can stick around, Coach. You can.
That's right. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing, because our family was a little bit torn. Not me, but like my wife's side of the family. April's a big Notre Dame fan. Spent a lot of time at Notre Dame when she was a kid because that's where the World Baton Championships were, and she was a world champion and got to meet Lou Holtz and all that. So they kind of fell in love with Notre Dame, and they were out on that field a lot, and in the Touchdown Jesus area, picked a lot of pictures there and everything. Seen pictures of her with Lou, in fact, and the trophies.
Nice.
But and so her whole family's kind of Notre Dame fans, but they're also Ohio State fans, so it's kind of a torn thing. But I tell you, and then you got Marcus Freeman, who I also really like. I like him as a coach. He seems like he's the right guy to be coaching this generation of football players. It looks like he's an old Ohio State guy, and so there's a lot of cool things, a lot of cool elements in that game. Something that I noticed last night that I thought was interesting, and I didn't mention it to anyone. I may have said something to Kaylee. Is the interview with the coaches going in at halftime. The first one they interviewed was Freeman.
And I heard that one. I didn't hear.
Did you watch it? Did you see it?
Yes.
Did you have, like, when you saw, wasn't Holly Rowe, she interviewed Ryan Day. It was Molly McGrath interviewed Freeman. When she asked him the first question about how they get back into, what do they need to do, the look on his face, I thought, was shell shock. Like, I thought it was completely different than the look of confidence that he typically walks around with, right? Like, and I say that in a good sense. Like, he is a cool cat. Like as he's walking around, he's coaching his guys. Like, he knows what to do. He knows what to say. He knows what to do. And I just got the sense in that interview that he was like, we're playing man-to-man and we can't stop them. So we moved to zone and we can't stop them. I got the sense that he was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I between here and the locker room, I hope I come up with some answers.
Yeah. It's a incredibly hard position to be in, too, to have to talk about that. And I noticed that, too, about it, because it's odd that you have I saw it after the missed field goal, which I thought was a bad decision. Again.
Yeah. Me too.
Well, here's the thing, Coach. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, well, that's dumb.
I thought that too.
And I texted my buddy, who's a Notre Dame fan. I said, I don't know why you kick a field goal there. And he's like, it's 4th and 9. Nothing in those last 3 plays tell me that we're going to get 9 yards.
It's the best red zone defense in college football.
That's right. Yeah. Best red zone defense in college football. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still down 2 scores. But if it went in, they would have been down, what? What did they end up winning by? They ended up winning by 10, right?
Was it?
Something like that. If it would have went in, they would have only been down 7.
With a shot to get an onside kick? Yeah, it's blurry.
Well, definitely at the end of the game, when they had the ball with 30 seconds left.
They'd have been within reach?
They'd have been down 7.
Really?
They'd have been down 7. They ended up losing by 10, yeah. So,
yeah.
So they had a shot, whereas with 30 seconds left, they had no shot. I mean, technically.
Yeah, they did lose by 10 because when Ohio State kicked the field goal, it sealed it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I wondered about that, too. Like, I don't even know if you take the chance of getting a field goal blocked there because Notre Dame's good at blocking field goals.
Yeah.
But when the kid missed the kick, bonked it off the upright.
Man, that was short, too.
Yeah.
It was a short kick.
Yeah. Freeman went down, like.
Yeah, dejected.
Like,
yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, shouldn't have
But
done
how
that.
excited would you have been if you'd have made it? Like, you'd have been excited. Like, yeah,
right.
we got some points. But,
well, and I think it's easy to forget that coaches are human. And they want it, and they have.
You
the
don't want to
emotion.
show that disappointment,
right?
Because that kicker feels terrible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you could see it on Jeter's face too.
Yeah.
He's pulling his hair out over on the sideline.
Yeah, but that's and in saying that, I think it just goes back to these moments in sports. They mean so much to us.
Yeah,
coaches, competitors, and they can really. It can really bring us down in a lot of ways, and then you got people sending death threats and all the social media hype and everything else that comes with it.
After the Michigan game and things
got
like
Pat Martin in Southeastern Ohio saying, "Well, they should fire Ryan Day." I don't know. I mean, the man knows, way more about football than I could ever dream to know. But you have that, and it's so much pressure on you when things don't go your way. And I think it's just.
Well, I think a good point to be made here is it was obvious, like you even mentioned it, like it is, after the Michigan game, Ohio State fans, media, everybody's like, this guy's got to go. Like, he can't get this done. Like,
and just to clarify.
He wins a lot of games.
When we beat Tennessee, when we crushed Tennessee, I said fire him.
Still?
Fire him because that's what we should have done.
First round of the playoffs. Yeah.
That's what we should have done to Michigan.
Yeah, there you
fire
go. So you're still saying it. Yeah. But
well, I want to be consistent.
But I think so. But okay. So speaking of that game, like it was that game. Like at the end of that game, when it was well in hand and they're celebrating on the sidelines, and you see Jack Sawyer go over to Ryan Day, and like he chest bumps him and he says something to him, and you see Day's face and he's smiling, and he's back at him, and you're like, that's a look, like that look on Jack Sawyer's face was one of, we told you we got your back.
Yep.
Right. And so like, so what the point that I'm making is that very rarely, I think, and this is good for every team in sports, I believe, like every team, high school, probably even youth sports, certainly college and pros. Everybody thinks they know what's going on behind the scenes. Everybody thinks they know what kind of relationship coaches have with their players and players have with their coaches. And sometimes people think they know it because, maybe even a player will say something. I don't know, but rarely do people truly know the culture behind the closed doors, what's going on in those locker rooms, what's going on in the dugouts, and and how those team members feel about one another, and how the coaches feel about the players, and vice versa. And this was a case where that was certainly true. Like, we had no idea how much those players wanted to play for Ryan Day, and how much Ryan Day, like there were videos and people were, pictures of him standing there at the end of the Michigan game when there was like a scuffle going on because of the flag planting and all that.
Oh, yeah. It was
people were saying like, look, he doesn't even have anything. Look how weak he is. He didn't even have anything to say, I think he's just still shell-shocked. Like, you're like, what has just happened here?
Yeah. And what's happening?
And what's happening now? But like that's not an alpha guy. Like that's go take charge or whatever. Dan Campbell will be out there whooping everybody's behind. But I think like we use that kind of stuff, those snapshots of things in life. Like, all we have from the outside looking in are snapshots. Yeah. All people have from the stands are snapshots. We don't have the full story. They go back in the locker room. They spend time, preparing for the next week, whatever it might be, a bowl game or a playoff game. I mean, they knew they were going to be in the playoffs. And so they knew what did he say? We've got 4 more games, after the Michigan game, we got 4 more games. And then they started preparing for that. And it's obvious that the way that team felt about each other, coaches and players included, staff, everybody, was different than everybody else in the United States of America thought that should happen.
Yeah. Like
all the fans, all of the media, except Herb Street, he was attacked because he actually pointed these things out, that the Ohio State fans are ridiculous. Nick Saban has some pretty strong things to say about fan bases also. And Coach Saban is right. I mean, he's good on that College Game Day show, I think. The naysayers, Pat McAfee, a Ryan Day naysayer, and Saban was speaking to him last night. You could see McAfee looking at what's the other guy's name? The guy, the anchor of that show, not Chris Fowler. The guy that sits on the end.
I don't watch it.
Oh, okay. It's fun. It's a fun show to watch.
Yeah. I didn't hear any of that really, because I'm not a big college football.
Yeah. But I think there was a general consensus though that like, yeah, this guy's lost the team. Mm-hmm. They're not going to play for him. And it was the opposite.
Yeah, definitely.
It was the
definitely.
opposite.
And I don't know that I felt that way, but I felt like he wasn't going to be capable of
bouncing back
winning.
from that.
Yeah.
That was so bad. Yeah.
Right. And So, I think he proved his worth by doing that. And, you give the players all the credit in the world, too. They have strong leadership, and I think Will Howard hasn't been given I think he earned, high praise. And because they talked about, the way that he's been, coaching, and leading his team, the offense, and over the last few weeks. And he, where maybe that was the difference in him and some other players, you know what I mean? But just here's the thing, though, and I think it goes back, when Riley Leonard got up and he kind of said something last week. It was like, he's like, I can't remember word for word what he said, but like, it's not a coincidence that the two teams that are showing their most, they're both open about their love for Jesus Christ and God and their faithfulness are in the national championship playing against each other, because that's like the prosperity.
On the surface, it sounds like, well, we're obviously God's favorite teams because we're the most outspoken about our faith, right?
Yeah. But so
you can see that coming after that is going to be, he's going to get made fun of a lot probably online.
Yeah, maybe. About that. But I guess what I'm saying is, me, if Ryan Day, right here, I'm saying, yeah, he won me over with that one play. Right, with that one play, he won me over. Because if they would have won by running the clock out, I wouldn't have been impressed. I've been like, he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again.
They just happen to have a big enough lead to get it done.
They just escaped, Yeah. And we won in spite of his coaching.
They went on the offensive instead.
Yeah. And, so that one play wins me over. So now Notre Dame and all their accomplishments and everything that they did throughout the year is kind of overshadowed now. It's like, well, what did they do wrong? Well, you don't always do something wrong. That's the beauty of sports, is that, or the challenge of sports. Sometimes you just lose.
They just weren't as good.
Yeah, and that's
especially last night.
Sometimes that's due to talent. Sometimes it's due to luck. To do the day. For whatever reason. So, and I can think back into just my short career, obviously as a coach in general, many mistakes that I've made and things that I've done that have changed me and, molded me into the coach I am today. And I hope I never stop doing that. I feel like when you stop allowing, things to guide you in the way that you coach and the way that you live, that's when you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So, have a little bit of grace, grant a little bit of grace for the coaches out there. I think that's the lesson that I took away from the game last night.
Yeah.
I probably don't call for anybody's firing anymore. I didn't do it publicly. I just did it to.
You agreed with those who were saying that, right?
Yeah, I kind of had a different perspective though. I feel like Ohio State fans get a bad rap because they're crazy. I think a lot of fans were just saying firing because they were angry. But I feel like I had a little bit more logic behind my reasoning. But obviously, he's done a good job there. They're going to they always get good talent because they're Ohio State. But you got to be able to manage it
and keep it,
keep it, and the coaches that he has there on staff. They have to be good, not just because of this year. I mean, yes, they had a good season this year with a lot of talent, and they always have talent, but they've been good in other years. It's just he hasn't been the best in close games.
Yeah.
Well, they're hard to win. That's why.
That's right.
They're difficult to win. I mean, Tom Brady's won seven Super Bowls, but he's lost 4.
It just makes
something like that. Yeah, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, greats lose too, except Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player ever.
That's right.
He doesn't put that in there for Brady Butcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See if
is he a LeBron guy?
Oh yeah.
This generation, they have no idea, do they? When it comes to MJ. So, but no. Back to your point about what Riley Leonard said about the two teams that were very outspoken about their faith, whether or not that's why they were in that game. I mean, I tend to not lean in that direction, that God puts you in championship, like God makes your team win, because I mean, maybe if God chooses to do that, That's his prerogative. But I know a lot of teams that have lost a lot of games, and the kids on that team were core believers, love Jesus, and outspoken about Jesus. And so was he punishing them? Like, does he not care about them? Right. So I don't think that God is that big of a sports fan in that sense, that he's gonna put a team in a situation where they're more successful because they speak of him. But I do think, I do believe that God gives us the opportunities to have platforms, and if we're faithful with them, if we're faithful with what he's given us, to basically speak the gospel, to proclaim the gospel, then he will reward us with other opportunities.
Yeah.
He'll usually give us small opportunities, because that's what Jesus said, that he who is faithful in the small things, he will be rewarded with bigger things. And so, there's probably is something to it, that revival took place on Ohio State's campus, and a lot of that revival involved the football team, and even behind the scenes, and when the cameras aren't on them, those guys are kneeling together in prayer on the field. Of course, yesterday was the national championship, and there were a lot of cameras, and so there was a lot of opportunity to see that happening. While people are celebrating, you got pockets of people over here, and then some over here, and a bigger group over here. But there's worship and praise going on there, and between Notre Dame players and Ohio State players, and you see an openness. I had an athlete here on campus just this week who is she's an athlete in a sport where she's leading a Bible study for her teammates, and she said that I've been talking to the Jesus One apparel guy and about getting the shirts online and things like that. And so we were talking about how everybody's going to have the opportunity to get a Jesus One shirt. And I said, if I can help you get them, I said, just let me know and I'll help you. And let me know how many you need, what sizes, things like that. And so she said, she texted me, she said, I was talking to my teammates, and like they have like 19 players on the team, on the roster, a field hockey team. And she said 12 of them had been coming to her Bible study, more than half of that team. She said, I messaged all of them on our group chat, asked them who would want one of these shirts. She said, almost everybody wants one. And then her next paragraph was, something is happening with our team and because we've talked about this before, and God's moving, and then of course you if you follow down that trail from last night's game and some of the comments, in the post-game interviews and things like that, and you will see other people saying the same thing, that college athletes in particular right now, and college coaches, not just athletes, I mean everybody, at state colleges as well as private colleges, are basically saying Jesus is the way. Mm-hmm. And that was a cool aspect to this game.
Yeah, well, you use the word opportunity. I think that's the focal point, because that we talk about how you have to have something in your life that's going to ground you when things go really well, and especially when things go really bad. And your faith impacts that so much. Yeah. And you look at Notre Dame, look at Iowa State, like Travion Henderson. I know he's been a really big. He maybe one of the first
instrumental
in the Jesus One.
Yes.
Now, so he gets to go back to Ohio State, to campus, and to say, we brought back a national championship, and use that opportunity as a way to glorify God.
Yeah.
Well, in the same way, listening to Riley Leonard talk last night after being beat and losing, and wanting something so hard, match and working so hard for something, and having it taken away. And what did he do? He used that moment, the same way that Travion Henderson was going to use it. He used that moment to do the same thing,
to essentially say there's something bigger, there's something that matters more.
Absolutely.
This matters and it hurts, but I'm still grateful that I've been given this chance, because there's something that matters more, and that is that he's glorified in what we've done.
Right. Yeah, I just got goosebumps. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's, maybe other generations of people have felt the same way and have had the same faith. The difference in this one is they're very outspoken about it.
Yeah.
And it's not just I thank God for this, or I thank the man upstairs, or it is words spoken from a person who obviously has a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Right. A genuine relationship, not just this person, wears a shirt or goes to church, or, what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be judgmental here, but Jesus did tell us that you know a tree by its fruit, right? And we're seeing good fruit from these kids.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I hope that, because I've been critical of Christian society in the past. What I feel like we sit around a lot and we complain about the way things are, and how there's not enough God in schools and there's not enough God in politics. I'm like, that's our fault. We caused
there
that.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason there used to be is because that's something they talked about and something that they nurtured. Yeah. And I hope that you say relationship, and that's what it's built on. 12 of your students' teammates are coming, and then the other 7 want the shirt because of the relationship. So I say, I hope that as a Christian society, we're able to take advantage of it and to glorify God in loving other people and saying, hey, we're not here to, to trample you, to hurt you or anything like that, and giving credit to God. We want to bring you in. We want to give you some place to understand that, hey, there are bigger things than this life, and no matter what you experience in this life, no matter how many times you fail, or what you do, or the hardships that you go through, there's something bigger. There's something you could be grounded in, and that's that relationship that you have with those people leads to that relationship with God.
Yeah.
I hope we capitalize on it.
Absolutely. You're going to always need that, right? You're going to always, like, athlete. I think that's one of the things that athletes know. Like, you're always what do you do when you get injured and sidelined? You get depressed. Some people are like, let's go to work. Got to, whether they got Jesus or not, right?
Yep.
Not everybody responds like that.
Yeah.
Some people go down the rabbit hole of
Jesse Ventura. He's an atheist. I thought he turned, and I thought, but he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in God.
He's a governor?
Was. But
he was a wrestler.
More importantly, he's a professional wrestler. But now he's the governor of Minnesota. But when he was the governor of Minnesota, he said, he used the phrase, he said, I don't like people that use religion as a crutch.
You hear that a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, that's exactly why. That's exactly why you have faith in God. Like, there's no better crutch that you could have than your faith and hope in God. I know what he was saying. He was saying that use religion as an excuse to do things that really aren't fitting. To allow things to happen. That's what he was saying. But I think the fact what we can get out of that relationship is sometimes overshadowed by what we have to do to get it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think we have a hard time as Christians relaying that to people that maybe don't have the faith, or that have questions about who God is and what He expects from you as a follower. But opportunities. That's why when people experience hardship, and like Riley Leonard, to get up and to do what he did and to say what he did after losing, that's what you get.
He was leaning on that crutch a little bit.
Yeah, he was absolutely right. Yeah.
Let it be known right now that for me, Christianity is not a crutch; it's an all-out lifeline. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's funny that people do say that's like an insult, right? Because it's. I mean, all it is it's illustrating the whole root of why you will never of why you're not surrendering to Christ anyway, and that's because the root of all sin is pride, right? And so, you need a crutch. Yeah, you're right. I do. I am in need. What did Jesus say even in the first sermon on the Mount in the Beatitudes? Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the
poor in spirit.
The poor in spirit. the whole issue of being poor in spirit is basically an admission that you are in need of Christ. I'm in need. I need something. I'm poor in spirit, and I need Him. And so yeah, that's for all of those who have out there who have used that. Just understand, it's not an insult. It's the truth.
Yeah. That's a great value.
Yeah, it's with a great value for sure. So yeah, well, takeaways from the day are
Buckeyes are the champs.
Listen,
Pat Martin says Ryan Day can stay.
the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Ohio Bobcats finished their football season with wins.
Yes.
Not very many teams get to do that. Now in football, you got all the bowl games, so
That's
there's
true.
a lot of teams that do. But in the traditional sense of winning championships, these two schools and OU Bobcats did something the Ohio State Buckeyes did not. They won their conference championship.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. But what an interesting day, right, for college football. That two teams that didn't even play in a conference championship.
They have to fit, because here's the other. Oregon was not dealt a fair hand.
No. Yeah, you're right.
They have to fix that.
Yeah.
They have to do something different there, because they did not deserve to have to play the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee to move on. That was not right.
It's true.
And I think it proves it now that the Ohio State's the champion.
I do think it's getting better though, don't you? Like
I think the 12th team is better.
I like that. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear the announcement either. I don't know when they came out with the 4 conference winners were going to get the buys. To me,
yeah, I know.
It was just a seamless transition from the top 12, where 2 go to the championship or 4 go to the championship, because when you had the 4 before, a conference winner didn't get.
That's
the benefit.
true.
If one was a conference winner, they weren't automatically one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It was decided 1 played 4, 2 played 3. Well, 1 through 12, go with your rankings. Otherwise, you don't need them.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess you wouldn't need 1 through the first 4. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I think they shouldn't get those buys just because they win the conference. That they should get their seeding based upon where they're ranked. And
that makes sense.
There's flaws in the rankings too, but I think that brings us
that was
closer
my thought,
to,
but then I thought, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it will.
It's a hard. It's. I would say there are a lot of things that I'm assuming college football is, or the NCAA in general is battling right now. I mean,
sure.
I tell you, at the ABCA convention, the Thursday night, Thursday night's when all the league meetings are. And so you've got the NCAA D1 meeting, D2, D3. You've got the NAIA meeting. You got and then that's when I went to my high school coaches meeting, where it's basically the NFHS meeting, where they kind of explain any new rules and things like that. And guys in that meeting were like, I actually kind of want to go down and stand outside the D1 room to hear because there's going to be some fireworks in there, because everything's under litigation with NIL and scholarships and the major change and with baseball with 34 and roster change. I mean, so after our meeting, I went to the D1 room. I mean, it was huge. I mean, that room was as big as the room, our main room for our clinic, and there were people standing everywhere in the back, just kind of listening in. As a guy from the NCAA was up there explaining what was stuff that was going on, and it's hard to keep up with. It really is. It's crazy. I mean, the world we live in is tough. I mean, the answers are I don't know what the answers are for competitive balance within college football and college athletics now. I mean, I don't know, and I don't know how does President Biden's executive orders or whatever that he made about before he left office impact with the NIL. Basically, did you see that NIL deals they fall under Title IX in terms of they've got to be equal. If money's given to like male athletes, and I didn't read into it as much. I think I saw some people responding saying, "Is that money coming from the university? I mean, or is it coming from private entities and things? I don't know. I've not kept up with this very much at all. I'm not one to speak on it, but it's
neither am
it's
I.
just
But
it's cloudy. It's
I think Texas and maybe Washington or Oregon has high school NIL.
states.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's trickling down, isn't it? Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, we're not going to have anybody offering us anything. We'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So, guess we'll learn as we go.
Well, guys, if and gals, whoever's listening to us, if you like our podcast, scroll. If you're listening to us on Spotify, scroll, leave us a comment about today's episode. Give us an idea to talk about. We actually have an idea that was sent to us that will be on the list. I think.
From me? From you? I've got an idea.
Somebody sent me a podcast episode idea.
Oh. Yeah.
Did I share it with you?
No, it was,
Yeah.
Coach Carroll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was great. It's a great idea. I think it'd be a great conversation. So
Yeah.
it's definitely on the list. And so do that, because that'll help create our episodes. And if you've not yet subscribed to us, do that. Share, please. We'll share our the links to our episodes and everything. But we'd love for you all to do that too. That listen to us and do whatever. I mean, we're not making any money off of it, but we certainly would love to help the world of
That's why we do it.
coaching and
As a resource. If anyone
conversation.
could use
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Maybe a little entertainment. I don't know. How entertaining are we?
I'm people like to laugh at me in general, so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
That's good seeing you.
Yep.